Hey guys, so welcome back to Homegrown Outdoors. This video, we're going to start our second week of our Bible study on David. We're going to have to try something new this week. I'm up here at school in North Georgia, and Caleb is still at home, so we wanted to still do the Bible study together. We feel that you shouldn't do a Bible study on your own. You should have a friend to do it with, be able to bounce ideas off each other. So we're going to do it via FaceTime. I'm not really sure how it's going to work out. I hope it runs smoothly, but I think I got all the technological stuff ready to go. So we're going to dive in now. I'm about to call Caleb, and y'all stay tuned, and I hope y'all enjoy it. Hey guys, so the next segment is David the younger son. It's important to note that God chose the younger son. In Exodus 13:11 through 13, God placed a special claim on the firstborn of man and animals. The nation of Israel, therefore, placed very high value on the family's oldest son, assigning special privileges and responsibilities to him. And Caleb's going to read Exodus 13:11 through 13 for us.
It says, "After the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites and gives it to you, as he promised on oath to you and your forefathers, you are to give over to the Lord the first offspring of every womb. All the firstborn males of your livestock belong to the Lord. Redeem with a lamb every firstborn donkey, but if you do not redeem it, break its neck. Redeem every firstborn among your sons."
It's a little odd.
A little bit.
Okay, so the next thing says, traditionally the Israelites presented the firstborn son to God about a month after birth. He was regarded as God's property. There was even a redemption price that the father had to pay the priest after the ceremony, and it talks about this redemptive price in Numbers 18:16.
It says, "When they are a month old, you must redeem them at the redemption price set at 5 shekels of silver, according to the sanctuary shekel, which weighs 20 gerahs."
Alright, so the firstborn son also inherited special rights and privileges. His birthright was twice any of his male siblings' portions of the estate. He also led the family and became the head of the household after the death of the father. By definition, the term firstborn means excellence and is applied to Jesus in several New Testament passages. Applying this understanding of the ancient culture, we know that the man Samuel should have been looking for Jesse's firstborn son, Eliab. He should have been the one, the excellent firstborn son, who would become the next king. However, God doesn't always work the way we think he should. The Apostle Paul wrote in his first letter to the Corinthians, and it talks about this in 1 Corinthians 1:26 through 29. Caleb's going to read that for us now.
It says, "Brothers, think of what you were before you were called. Not many of you were wise by human standards. Not many were influential. Not many were of noble birth. But God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. He chose the lowly things of this world and the despised things and the things that are not to nullify the things that are, so that no one may boast before him."
Okay, so clearly, God is always looking for something different and unique. Paul was saying, hey, look around. Sure, there are impressive people everywhere. They wear great clothes, they wear expensive jewelry, and they've gone to the right schools. They are brilliant and bright. But folks, God could not care less. God takes the youngest and turns him into the mightiest. God takes the usual and makes him unusual. That's God. So now we got 3 questions that we're gonna answer. Me and Caleb will, and we like y'all to maybe pause the video and answer the question for yourself, and then resume it after you've answered, and then you can hear our answer. So the first question is, why do you think God chose differently than what was expected?
Well, I think that he was trying to prove this point that Paul's making in Corinthians about choosing the weak things to shame the strong and the lowly things to shame the wise. And it's just another example of a prophecy coming true, in my opinion. Because, look, we're going to see through the next few weeks the amazing and mighty leader David becomes. And then when you get to Corinthians, you can see how God works in choosing the weak things to shame the strong, and he made David mighty. And when David was a boy, he was not even thought of as anywhere close to mighty.
Yeah, I definitely think the same thing. Obviously, like you said, David wasn't the greatest, the mightiest. We talked about that last week. Uh, but several times God chooses people that don't seem fit for the task. We see that with all of his disciples. They were tax collectors, fishermen, people that just weren't expected to be in that position. But you also look at Jesus was born as in a manger. Everybody thought he was going to be born in a palace. So when he was born in a manger, nobody realized what was happening. Everybody just thought, oh, this can't be the Messiah. I mean, he was born in a manger. He's supposed to come and rescue us. How is he going to do this? Everybody thought it was going to be in a worldly standard, not in a spiritual standpoint. But then we'll dive into the next question. The next question is, what do you think God's definition of the best and brightest is?
Well, just like the book says, I don't think he cares all that much about the brightest from a worldly standpoint. I think he cares much more about the effort and time and the knowledge you gain from reading his word and from spending time in prayer with him. I think he cares much more about that than any worldly knowledge we could ever acquire.
Yeah, definitely. Caleb pretty much nailed that one down. So I'm going to dive into the next question, which ties in directly. It says, "What are some human characteristics God can use, and what are some that He can't use?" So obviously, we know that if you're prideful and you're boastful, and you're not willing to be humble, then God can't use you. Obviously, we see David was a weak one, and he was humble, and he respected God. I mean, he was one of the greatest leaders that Israel ever had, and he was given that ability to lead through God. So I think it was really cool how he chose David and the characteristics he had, rather than choosing the greatest, the mightiest, and maybe the other brothers might have been boastful and prideful. So
And I think the one thing I would add to that was David knew what it was like to be the lowest and the weakest because that's what he was viewed when he was growing up. And then once he became the king and the mighty leader that he was, that he knew how to appreciate it better because he knew
definitely,
what God had brought him through to get to that point.
yep. So I think that that pretty much sums it up for this week. That concludes the end of the Bible study for this week. We hope y'all enjoyed it. If y'all have enjoyed this video, I know that we actually had one previous Bible study that we've done, so if y'all didn't get to see that one, go back and check it out. I've put them all in a playlist, and I will continue to put them in a playlist, separate category on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe also. That way y'all can get the new updates and when we post the next video. We try to post them on Sunday, but it hasn't worked out that way yet, so they kind of get posted whenever we get the chance to sit down. We have a pretty busy schedule, so you got anything to add, Caleb?
Uh, yeah. Don't forget about the bow case giveaway.
Yep.
We will give it away when we get 75 subscribers. So, hoping to get there as quick as we can so we can give it away and it can quit sitting around and cluttering up my house.
Yep. Another thing is if y'all haven't noticed, we do have some hats for sale. If y'all would be interested in those, DM us on Instagram, or you can email me at levi13thompson@gmail.com. I'll put that down at the bottom of the video here when I was just talking about it. But I think that's all we got for this week. Does that sound good? All right. I'll see y'all boys later.